Hello everyone, this is Paramore Mike, and welcome back to Season of 12 Colours, and we are now on to Chapter 3. Hey, let's play! The girl in a white dress said. It was a very, very long time ago, a dream filled with bright summer sunshine. Something hit my forehead. Enough! When I opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was a pouting Jasmine. How come you could just sleep away such a fine day? No, listen, I did have an excuse. Last night it was too hot for me to sleep. To make things worse, when I finally fell asleep, I had the weirdest dream ever. Just couldn't get rid of the drowsiness. Yawning, I threw back at her all those origamis that fell on me. I had figured it would be nice and cooler here. Well, you could say that. But when I came here early in the morning, I had heard at once the sound of footsteps. Jasmine ran to welcome me. Her face was all lit up with sunshine, so she was also an early riser. And let's make paper planes. Judging from the mountain of coloured paper, it seems she had been well prepared for the great event. Wait, don't tell me you bit them out last night? All these books in the house? How's that possible? I told you I wasn't a rat. She stomped and handed me a thick stack of paper. They need to change that to thick. These are from my used notebooks. Unbelievably awful handwriting. And which grade were you? 7th grade? 8th? Did you even need to think about that? 10th grade? Bang! I had acted before I could think, to knock her on the head without mercy. What are you doing? She cried out. This was punishment for stupid kids. Fair enough. After that, I threw myself onto the grass, closed my eyes to take a nap. Please, don't tell me you're going to sleep again. Her tiny voice was not hard to ignore. I turned over and slept on. Indeed, how can you do this? She seemed to have given up, and then there were noises, paper shuffling, footsteps running away from me. Hey! Once again, something hit my forehead. What's this? The next time, its tip touched my nose. It felt light as a feather. Hey! 3 shots at once, aiming at my neck, cheeks and ears. Come on. It got into my ears. I jumped up. How dare the little girl play pranks on me? Me, the king of kings of pranks. I grabbed the paper planes that fell on the ground and threw them out in professionally quick and precise motion. I just threw the paper plane with all my strength. Unfortunately, I had the nerve to simply dive down and crash on the ground after a short and unstable flight. Spelled strength wrong. I need to stop pointing it out. She was laughing at me. I could tell it. You got it all wrong, Mr. Rabbit. I told you I was not Mr. Rabbit. Throwing paper planes requires more than strength. Oh, really? The angle you throw it and the direction of the wind. There are a lot of techniques. Oh, you need to control the distance too. That's a lot of trouble. Why not I'll just stuff it in your collar. Wait there. You can't. That's breaking the rules. Giggling, she ran around the house to hide. Stop it! I had to punish her for disturbing my sweet shop. I ran after her like an idiot. Okay, final conclusion. We were both idiots. We sprawled on the grass and panted heavily. I lost. I really can't run anymore. Jasmine's voice drifted over. Actually, it was not like I could run any longer either. And to be honest, there's no way I would have really done anything to her like that. At last, we just chased around the house like the 2 idiots that we were. Come to think of it, why did I have to do that? Sleep deprivedness? Hey. Jasmine's voice again, so close within reach. We can be like this, always, can't we? The patch of sun-filled blue sky, surrounded by treetops like a dome, looked down at us without a sound. Can we play together tomorrow? Of course, I answered without hesitation. And the day after tomorrow? Sure. That would be fine too. I was running out of patience. What about the day after that? And every day afterwards. A soft breeze brought about the scent of wildflowers and grass. The smell came from Jasmine. We can be together like this, can we? But I never heard a tone like this. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. It would have been easy to tell her, of course. We could. But suddenly I felt that even if I told her, I would not have the real confidence that it would come true. A soft touch. She took my fingers in her palms. Yes. Jasmine sounded like she had made a decision, she said. It's alright. What? Even if we only have this moment, it's already good enough. We were both looking up at the sky. I couldn't see the look on her face. Yes, the only thing I could do was to make sure she's really there, through the feeling on my fingers. It's alright now. I didn't know what I was talking about. Neither did Jasmine speak afterwards. We just lay there and looked up at the silent blueness. Chapter 4. So tired. Deprived of sleep, I was made to play with the girl for a long morning. After lunch, I threw myself onto the bed, practically fell to pieces. That's how you end up playing with little kids. The kids were always trouble, no matter this one or that. Something emerged. It quickly faded away into the darkness of sleep. I had a wonderful rest. Wondering what time it was? It's already past 4? Uncle was sitting at the doorstep shaving bamboo strips. He answered my question. I didn't wake you up, you slept so soundly, he added. So it's 4. Wait, how could I sleep away so many hours with a nap? I promised Jasmine I would come in the afternoon. Now I was bound to be late. I jumped out of bed and stepped onto my sandals hastily. What's up? Unhurried, Uncle asked from behind me. Oh, just an appointment with a friend. I put on a t-shirt and ran away into the garden. So you're starting to make friends around here. Was he making fun of me? In between the sound of shaving bamboo, his carefree voice came through. Oh, it was just one kid, a girl about the same age as me. The noises stopped. I will be back soon. I used the garden gate closed and dashed off. He seemed to have said something after that, but I couldn't hear clearly anymore, and quickly dismissed it. I ran into the woods. Noon had long passed, yet the heat was still present. I was starting to sweat from running. Strange. Had I lost my way? It felt like something was very different from yesterday. There came through the trees noises of kids fighting, playing, and someone sobbed in a soft and low voice. Duh. I pulled away the branches. The same old clearing was still there. The little wood house stood intact. The kids were new. There were a bunch of them, running after each other on the grass, throwing things around. And Jasmine, she huddled up by herself, crying. Hey, what are you kids doing here? I stepped up, fists clenched. In an instant, the troublemakers fled away into different directions. For half a second, I couldn't decide which one to chase. At last I had managed to catch one of them. The kid's feet were slow, and he fell flat when he tried to run away. Keep it. I picked up the straw hat from the ground and put it onto Jasmine's head. Hey, what's that cry? How come you could get bullied by these little kids? They're so much younger than you. I'm sorry. Still sobbing, Jasmine held the hat from falling with one hand, her other hand busy wiping away tears. That's why you were an idiot. You're sorry? You shouldn't be sorry. This kid should be sorry. I let go my clench around the kid's black collar and shoved him in front of her. Apologise. I made the scariest face possible, with my hand firmly on the kid's head. I am so sorry. Not loud enough. Say I am really sorry. I'm really, really sorry. The kid, mud all over his body, had no choice but to lower his head. Of course, I was forcing him to it. It's okay. Tracks of tears were still visible along Jasmine's cheeks. You don't have to do this. She took out her handkerchief and wiped the kid's face. Come on, you were just bullied. I didn't expect you to act that angry, but at least don't be so kind. Now I was in an awkward position to play hero. But,
可是
Jasmine still glances at me guiltily.
他受伤了。
He's hurt. She cleaned away the blood from the scratches on his knees. Huh. Whatever you like.
等一下，
Oh, please hold on. For a moment she seemed to suddenly remember something and clapped her hands.
屋子里有橡皮膏的，我
Is
马上去拿。
There's bandage in the house. I'll go fetch it. She stood up, ran to the house, and fell flat. We stared at her tripping over herself. After all the fuzz, we came to the final conclusion of this case. Since the victim did not wish to pursue any further, you could say the whole thing was settled out of court. By the way, the bandages did come in handy. We put a piece on the kid's leg, and 3 in total for Jasmine on her knees and arms. She's really an idiot. So was I.
那
Hey,
起床
get
啦
up. Her soft voice was as persistent as mosquitoes. Go away already. I was tired. It's mysterious, though, how I got to know someone who would bury themselves up in a mountain of books. Let's not even start talking about tripping over oneself and getting bullied by kids much, much younger.
人家已经道过歉了
But I
啦。
have to apologize. No, that wasn't you, stupid. That was me. Pulling grass off the ground, I kicked myself mentally for not coming earlier. For some reason, I felt like this had happened before. Couldn't remember. Something vital had been missing. And then there was a rustle. It was her dress against the grass leaves. Jasmine sat
那
beside me.
个啊，
Hey. Her voice was as soft as a breeze.
虽然不是什么值得夸耀的事情，
Now, this is not something to brag about, but the breeze brought with it the scent of wildflowers and grass.
可是啊，
But I just want to let you know, Jasmine lifted
你
her
出
head.
现的时候，真的好高兴
I
啊。
was so happy when I saw you. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking at something in the distance, even further than the sky wrapped in treetops, talking to herself.
像是童话里
Just like in the fairy tales, you know, the prince had come to the princess for the rescue. She turned to me, a smile much too bright, almost dazzling. I knocked her forehead lightly with my knuckles. Come on, had you ever seen any prince like this? I tried to dismiss it with a self-mockery. She shrugged and smiled. Oh, I can go full screen. Didn't notice. Her eyes narrowed.
也是哈。
You're right. Hand on her chin, Jasmine thought about it for a while.
因为是兔子先生嘛。
Because you're Mr. Rabbit! Mr. Rabbit who? I would have knocked you a lot more if it wasn't that much trouble to get up. But for today, I guess it was not bad to play Mr. Rabbit once in a while.
那来这纸飞机。
Hey, let's
兔子
make
先
paper
生
planes, shall we, Mr. Rabbit? Swinging her feet back and forth, she had took off her sandals. Among the grass leaves were the girl's slim ankles, making shuffling sounds. Too bad I'm so tired today, Your Highness. I turned over trying to cover up my quickened heartbeat.
哦，年轻人。这
But
么
you're so
没精打
young.
采的
Where's the spirit? And she's the one who said that. She looked a lot younger than her age, and yet starting to sound like old people already. Talking of age, for some reason, Jasmine seemed different from my memories. She had left a more sensible and mature impression a few years ago. Breaking through the woods, the rays of the setting sun sparked for a moment. Jasmine's cheeks glowed with a faint blush. What had this girl been like before? Hey. Still sitting, Jasmine threw out a nearly made paper plane. You do like paper planes, don't you? Yes,
很喜
I like
欢
them a lot. She smiled, still blushing a
因
little.
为啊，
Someone
是很
taught me
喜欢的
about it.
人
Someone I
教
really,
给我的
really
东西
like. Someone you really liked, huh? Your dad or your mum? Nothing to do with me either way.
都
Nope.
不是哦。
With a big smile on her face, Jasmine turned to
我
me.
的朋友
I only had
就
one
只有一
friend
个啊。
ever. Wide brimmed straw hat, pure white dress. She looked down at me, her face reddened by the sunset glow. The girl named Jasmine.
是兔子先生呀。
It's Mr. Rabbit! With a mischievous look on her face, her silvery laughters ringed through. Chapter 5. After dinner, Uncle stopped me when I was about to leave. He wanted to talk about what happened today. Today? I didn't recall anything special. Maybe I shouldn't have threatened those kids. Well, I admit it was childish of me. Those were 7, 8-year-olds, and I must have been like a giant to them, but they were not without fault either. That was not what I wanted to talk about. Uncle was sitting across the table. He had an extremely serious look on his face. I couldn't help but sat straight. Oops, I missed that. Do you remember your little cousin? Tangerine, do you remember what happened to her? I did. Or should I say, I should have remembered, but for some unknown reason it escaped me for this long. What happened that summer? 3 years ago. I was still in primary school. I came to Uncle's house for summer vacation. Felt anyone to play with around my age, only a little girl following me around everywhere. She was my uncle's daughter, my little cousin, 6 years younger than I was. A chit of a girl with her hair not quite black enough. Everybody called her Tangerine. She was a troublemaker at heart, and what's worse, Tangerine just couldn't stand being alone. She used to follow her mum around all the time. With my arrival, she simply wouldn't leave me alone. In short, she had caused me much trouble in all ways possible. But had I not brought her along on that day, would things be different? Fist banged on the fence. Hey, hey! From the other side of the fence I heard someone calling in a suppressed voice. I looked up. It was the kid I caught earlier today. But Jasmine let him go. Heyo. He tiptoed around. Hi, could you tell me about that girl? Is she still angry at us? He was speaking in a hushed voice, as though he was afraid of being caught. That girl? Of course. He meant Jasmine. About Jasmine. In my mind's eye, for one flashing instant, I saw her figure clearly. My heart throbbed. About her, Jasmine was... I bit my lip hard. Hey. While I didn't answer, the little kid tried to lean in closer. Is she still angry? Please tell her. We are really sorry, would you? The words didn't register for a while. Or perhaps my mind was just elsewhere. Apologise? Yes, because we can't go there anymore. There is a reason. Everyone got scolded harshly. A reason why nobody was allowed to go. When you see her tomorrow, would you bring her this for me? Through the fence he handed me a paper plane made from notebook paper. I picked it up, but I forgot to give it back to her. The kid scratched his head and muttered, Please bring this to her, and tell her we are really sorry for what we did. Thank you. From afar, the sound of adults could be heard. The little boy ran away in a hurry. Oh, it's raining. It rained. I stood for a long time in the rain before I was aware of it. Even the weather had been the same as that day. It was Aunt who pulled me back into the house. She helped me dry my hair and scolded me. Tangerine was nowhere to be found. Don't go there anymore. This warning from Aunt was all I had remembered.
约好了。
It's a promise, right? The girl in a white dress said. In my dream, the sky had been filled with sunlight, so bright it hurt my eyes. But there had been sounds of rain, voice of a girl, words of promise to come again. She called me, treated me like her own big brother, followed me around and... In the darkness of the night, I sneezed and woke myself up. My head felt hot and spinning. Had I caught a fever? Achoo! It sure would get better with a good night's sleep. Sunbeams woke me up in the early morning. Fortunately, it was a bit earlier than the little girl. Normally the girl would just jump onto my sheets without any warning and scare me awake. I felt grateful this time. The little girl tiptoed around me and almost reached me. What? I jumped up without warning. She fell to the floor and giggled. Get up already, you little orange girl. I'm not orange! She protested and clinged to me. My little cousin of 6 years old. Hey, where we go today? Want to play? She skipped around me and somehow made sure to be in my way all the time. Let's go into the woods for an adventure. What about that? I wanted to scare her off. After all, I was about to enter junior high. Much too mature to play with this little kid. Take me! Okay, failed. I threatened her with rumours of tigers, bears and wild boars. The girl was full of tears, but still I couldn't even peel her off my back. In the end, I had to take her here. I talked as if it would be a great adventure, but really there was nothing. It only took me 3 days to went around and get familiar within the woods. In summary, there were trees and trees, and then there were some more trees. A tracker parked over there around the hillside, nothing else, and yet on the miracle day, a whole new continent had been discovered. As we climbed the hillside and almost arrived at the hilltop, a among the thick growth, there had been a wide clearing. Surrounded by treetops, high above was a patch of blue sky, covering us like a dome. Soft grass decorated by colourful wildflowers. And in the middle of all these, just like in the fairy tales, a small house stood quietly. And there was more. It had been a knock that woke me up. I skipped breakfast. Aunt made congee for me especially. I felt sorry for this. It was all my fault. That was when we met her. The girl with the wide-brimmed straw hat, in a white dress, about the same age as me. Her name was Jasmine. She had remained unchanged since then. No, she seemed even more mature at the time, not as much of a kid as now. My fingertips touched something. It had been in the pocket of my jeans all this time. A piece of paper. Oh, it was the paper plane. The kid gave it to me yesterday. On the notebook paper, there were words written. A child's handwriting. Daddy told me stars like a straight line. It only goes one way, but occasionally they had star exceptions. Star lines could clean star star star. When star star indifferent star star star, in a short period it was possible to. The paper was somewhat smeared by rainwater. Words were missing, only leaving faint yellow touches. Put down the piece of paper and laid back. If only I could ask. If only I could directly ask the person who wrote it. But that would not be possible. I could not go there anymore myself. The reason? Yesterday Uncle told me to stay away from that place. I rejected fiercely. The reason? I'd known all along. Of course. It was my fault. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have brought Tangerine. Jasmine was a nice girl. She had been so sweet and kind, treated as though we were her own little brother and sister. We had been only a little younger than she was though. Jasmine liked to watch us play. We asked her to join a few times. She always smiled and shook her head. Why? Jasmine said she was a big girl. She had grown out of children's games. That was a lie. She was not that much bigger than we were, but she really was like her older sister, or even our mother. Smiling gently and watching over us, she encouraged us, applauded for us. I'm recording, must you message me? And laughed with us when something funny happened. Despite all this, she never joined us. There was only one exception. It was when she taught us to make paper planes. A rectangular notebook paper. Folded once in half. Carefully she then folded on the edges down twice. Its wings spreaded. A beautiful paper plane was born. I had to admit defeat. I thought I made pretty decent paper planes, but compared with Jasmine's, they had been nothing. She folded the best paper planes in the swiftest way. They always looked good and flew far. Could it possibly fly into the sky, just like a real plane? Like always, Jasmine just smiled and shook her head quietly. Okay, so I'm going to end this episode here, and we will continue on to the last of the game next time. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you like this series. It's very different to all the others that I normally do, but I really wanted to try this out. Okay, bye bye!